Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Lining up to make sure that the water that they are drinking is safe, Highland Park hands out free filters after elevated levels of lead were found in the tap water of residents. What else the city is urging people to do. But we begin with the dangerous heat about to hit Metro Detroit. Right now, our temperature sits at 82 degrees outside, but temperatures are about to soar into the 90s and the feels-like temperature in the triple digits. Thanks for joining us this noon. There are cooling centers opening in every county in Metro Detroit for anyone that needs to escape the intense heat that's coming our way. Today is considered an ozone action day, and that means that the heat can lead to more health problems, especially for children, the elderly, or anyone that suffers from asthma. Consumers Energy is asking people to reduce their air conditioning use, if possible, by dialing up that thermostat to 78 degrees. And local officials are urging people to avoid putting gas in their vehicles, mowing lawns. That all can contribute to more air pollution. So let's get over to Andrew and talk about just how steamy it's going to get around here and for how long.
That's right, Rhonda. Well, today is the start of the really steamy stuff. We're talking about a heat index of 100 or greater. This afternoon, closer to 100, closer to 110 as we go into tomorrow and also on your Saturday. That's why we have an excessive heat warning in effect for Detroit and southeast Michigan. I mean, later today, we're going to make it up to around 91 degrees, but it will feel like it's around 96 to 100. 85 is the current temperature. If you joined us earlier this morning, the temperature heat index were one in the same, and dew points were in the 50s and low 60s. All that has now changed. A south-southwesterly wind has brought in more moisture, more humidity, so that dew point is up to those tropical levels once again, and the heat index now 5 degrees higher than the actual temperature. 94 will be the heat index later this afternoon in places like Pontiac, right here in Detroit, around 97 or a bit higher. These projections go on through the evening, and even tonight, it'll be warm and muggy, and it will feel like it's in the upper 70s or actually feel like it's in the 80s, and even higher heat indices for tomorrow. We'll talk about how long this heat wave lasts into your weekend and when some relief may be in sight in minutes.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Also, a complete list of those cooling centers and everything that you need to know about these soaring temperatures over the next few days. You can find it all on our website at clickondetroit.com. Meanwhile, residents in Highland Park are worried about how high levels of lead in their tap water could be affecting them. So they have lined up for water filters, and the lines were very long this morning. It's the first stage in coping with this new discovery of the health hazard. Rod Maloney was there when they opened the doors and joins us now live from Highland Park right there at the fire station, and there was quite a crowd there, Rod.
It was quite a crowd this morning, Rhonda. It has slowed down here. There is still a steady stream of people, but it's not nearly as busy as it was. Now, when you come out, you need a proof of residency. You don't necessarily need a driver's license, but an electric bill, a water bill, something like that. You have to prove that in order to get your pure water filter, and that's what they started doing this morning, and here's what the reaction was to it.
Y'all need to hurry up. These people getting hot.
A long line started forming an hour before they opened the doors in Highland Park this morning. The prize? Brita water filters, 2 different kinds, one for the faucet, one for a pitcher if the faucet connection won't work. Lifelong Highland Park resident Anthony Forsyth didn't just come for himself.
They gave me a lot of stuff right here because you see my arms are full because this is for 2 family flats for my father because he's 94 years old. So they're doing pretty good. The only thing about it is the line, and we have to wait out in the sun, and it's bad for the elderly, and I'm worried about the other elderly people in these other buildings.
The city's also providing other information, when to flush tap water, for how long, and more than anything, get those with children under the age of 6 years old set up with blood lead level testing through the Wayne County Health Department. Highland Park Mayor Hubert Yop also told Local 4 that as long as they're talking about dealing with lead problems,
Wayne County has received HUD dollars to deal with lead-based paint. So we want to get this whole thing out of the way.
Certainly the elevated lead levels of residents feeling conflicted about the inconvenience it's creating for their daily lives.
Well, it's upsetting because we should have known something about this sooner. We don't know what kind of damage it might have done to us, but I'm glad they got it taken care of.
Now, there's kind of a city mobilization here. I mean, you've got the summer youth program inside helping out with this. It's about 20 teenagers along with firefighters and even police officers making sure this goes smoothly. They're going to be here 10 to 2, not just today, but every day that people are going to be needing it in the future. The state, of course, providing these water filters. They come as a pitcher, or you can attach it to your faucet. And residents here have been streaming in and out, and it looks like they'll have most of the city blanketed here pretty much by the end of the day. Back to you.
Well, those water filters are certainly important, but what about bottled water? Is that going to be available to residents there as well?
That is the one of the concerns, and in fact, the mayor told me that a couple of local businesses have gone ahead and they have donated bottled water, but they don't have that coordinated yet. That is to come on Monday morning, and the expectation is that they'll start delivering that water here for 10 a.m. Monday for residents to come pick up.
Well, there's certainly a lot of high concern there, Rod, so we'll continue to follow this story. Thank you. One person is dead after being hit by a car in Lenox Township. Police were called out just before 5:30 this morning near County Line Road and 27 Mile. According to police, Lawton Monroe was out riding his bike on County Line Road when he was hit by a car. The driver of the car called police, but unfortunately Monroe was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are still investigating the cause, but they do not think that the driver had been drinking. A man is stable after a shooting on Detroit's east side this morning. The victim told police that he got into an argument with the suspect in the Cabana Motel parking lot on Harper just after 1 o'clock this morning. Well, that's when the suspect went to his car, got a shotgun, and shot the victim. An investigation is still ongoing. A man is back in an Ann Arbor courtroom today, accused of stealing a car with a father and 2 children inside. Bertel Gibbs faces multiple charges, including carjacking and fleeing from police. Back in February, Gibbs allegedly stole a car and led police on a chase while a father and 2 children were inside. During court today, Gibbs' attorney asked for an adjournment because U.S. attorneys were planning on adding additional charges. Gibbs will be back in court next month. And new reaction this afternoon to a new attack from President Trump. At a rally last night in North Carolina, he again called out 4 Democratic congresswomen, singling out Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota.
Obviously and importantly, Omar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds.
Congresswoman Omar responded to the chant with a quote from Maya Angelou, which reads, "You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still I rise." Every day this week, President Trump has gone after the so-called squad of 4, including Omar, as well as Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. It started on Sunday with a series of tweets telling them to go back to their countries of origin. 3 of the 4 women were born right here in the United States. Michigan State Police were cracking down on speeders along I-696 yesterday, and they caught a lot of them. They tell us that they made 136 stops between Hoover and I-94. They cited 135 of those drivers, mostly for speeding, also for not wearing seatbelts and having no insurance. They say that the top speed was 95 miles per hour, and they are warning drivers that they will be out doing this again. So you have been warned. Well, it may seem like MDOT just started the second phase of the construction along I-75, but tonight they want your input on what's coming next. The state is hosting an open house from 4 until 7 tonight at the Madison Heights Public Library on 13 Mile. They'll be discussing the 3rd segment of that freeway project that impacts I-75 between 8 Mile and 13 Mile. Segment 3 won't be finished until 2023. But then you'll be able to drive the new Corvette on it. Corvette fans, get ready. The next generation of that classic car is on its way, and it looks gorgeous. The highly anticipated official unveiling without the wrap on it like we saw here in New York. It's the new C8, and it will be taking place in Southern California. The car is expected to have a mid-engine design, which is a first for Corvette, and abandoning its traditional front-engine layout. And once the Corvette debuts, General Motors will take it on a driving tour of Chevy dealerships all across the United States. Can't wait. Can't wait to see it. Delta Airlines is adding something to flights that could save a life, and it will give flight attendants a new tool to keep people safe on board. And think you have heard enough of the song Baby Shark? Why, one community is blaring it throughout a park at night. But first, a tragedy at an animation studio, and this was no accident. What a man yelled as he set fire to a building in Japan that took the lives of dozens of people.
I know we have a lot of news going on today, but I can't wait for you to see the story I'm working on for 4 o'clock today. So I actually did the original story of a group of kids who started a coffee roasting company so they could help fellow students. That was 3 years ago. Wait until you see what they're doing now. Consider this. They used to do a pound at a time in a little toaster oven. It's not that kind of show anymore. I'll see you today at 4 on First at 4.